Lu Xinyuan's face went pale with shock. What did you just say? Normally, people thought it was always the younger sister bullying the older one, but now everyone heard the truth. Lu Xinyuan's sneaky little schemes were all exposed. The goddess just completely threw her own sister under the bus, and then acted like nothing happened. Ruthless. If everyone hadn't overheard her, who'd believe that the girl who'd been saying Lu Mion had a mental illness, tried to get her kicked out of school, and acted like she didn't even know her, had the nerve to do all that? If I were Lu Mion and came back alive, the first thing I'd do is get revenge on Lu Xinyuan. Lu Xinyuan stood there listening to everyone talking, and tears streamed down her face. She had never felt so humiliated, so utterly embarrassed. Looking at the classmates who usually praised her and treated her like a queen, she was filled with a mix of sadness and anger, hating every second of it. She tried to defend herself weakly. How can you say that about me? I was kidnapped too. Wasn't I innocent in all this? It was Lu Mion who didn't want to acknowledge me. She's the one who cut ties with the family, not me. But the class wasn't buying it at all. The whole room erupted in jeers. No one believed her. Suju was sitting in the classroom, hearing all the gossip and feeling annoyed. He got up from his seat and started walking toward Lu Xinyuan. Suju, please? Help me out here. It's really not my fault, it's all Lu Mion's doing. Lu Xinyuan pleaded desperately. But Suju didn't even glance her way as he walked past, his voice cold as he left. I warned you, but you didn't listen. Lu Xinyuan bit her lip hard, tears of humiliation and pain rolling down her face. She was still trying to act innocent, even after everything. Can you believe I used to think she was some kind of goddess? One of the students muttered as the day ended and most of the students had already left. As Lu Mion looked up, about to cross the street, she spotted a man standing next to a billboard on the other side, bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun. He stood there, hands in his pockets, looking graceful and elegant, like a perfect painting. His hand twitched, almost lifting on its own as he gazed at her. With a calm, soothing voice that seemed to reach her very core, he called out, Mion Mion, come home. Home. For the second time, Lu Mion heard that word from Xiao Jimo's lips. And for the second time, it left her completely dazed. In that moment, staring at the man on the other side of the street, it was like she was back in kindergarten again. Monday to Friday, her father used to wait by an old locust tree near the school gate, calling for her and Lu Xinyuan. Mion Mion, Nuon Nuon, come home for dinner. Just like Xiao Jimo now, standing in the golden light of the sunset, calling her home. Lu Mion instinctively moved towards Xiao Jimo. But suddenly, a figure appeared in front of her, blocking her path. She stopped in her tracks, looking at the person who had appeared out of nowhere. Lu Mion, I've been waiting for you for a long time. The shy boy hurriedly shoved a big bouquet of roses into Lu Mion's arms, his eyes full of hope and nervousness. He wanted to say something but scratched his head for a long moment before dashing off without another word. Just like that, another one was gone. Xiao Jimo mentally noted this scene as he watched the girl across the street, clutching the flowers and walking toward him. This wasn't exactly how he had imagined things playing out. He was going to say something but noticed how pale her small face was, concern slipped out instead. Why are you here? Did you come to pick me up after school? She asked. Her teacher sure cares a lot about his students, but she still had that carefree, I don't take life too seriously attitude. Xiao Jimo actually wanted to ask about her health, but he didn't want to come on too strong. After all, they were both headed in the same direction. As they walked, Xiao Jimo's gaze briefly shifted to the flowers she was holding. Isn't that heavy? Are you going to take it home? Where does a high school student even get the money for such a huge bouquet of roses? Must be using their parents' hard-earned cash. These kids, already learning how to woo girls with flowers. Clearly a future Casanova. As he was thinking about all this, the man suddenly sneezed. He fumbled for a white handkerchief, a little confused as he rubbed his nose. Lu Mion frowned at him, then he sneezed again, twice in a row. Even when sneezing, Xiao Jimo's natural good looks made the gesture seem graceful and poised. He elegantly covered his mouth and nose with the handkerchief, his eyes behind the gold-rimmed glasses showing a hint of apology. "I think I'm allergic to pollen," he admitted. Without a second thought, Lu Mian tossed the roses into the nearest trash can. "Better now?" she asked. Xiao Qimor raised an eyebrow, a little surprised but relieved. "Yeah, much better." Just as they approached the elevator, Lu Mian adjusted her backpack straps and walked slowly toward him. Even though her face was pale, the light in her eyes shone brighter than ever. Xiao Qimor was caught off guard for a moment, thinking again, in all my life, I never thought a girl would pin me against a wall like that. At this moment, Xiao Qimor's heart skipped a beat. His body tensed up as Lu Mian leaned closer, her long lashes seeming to magnify her flawless, porcelain-like skin. He couldn't help but feel conflicted as he caught a glimpse of the emotions hidden in her clear eyes. What was she trying to say? In just a few seconds, Xiao Qimor's emotions went through a whirlwind, but his self-control was impeccable, showing no signs of his inner turmoil. The only thing giving him away was his tense body, reminding him that something was off. Sensing the tension, Lu Mian let out a light chuckle, dropping her usual carefree attitude. Her voice, now a bit mocking, took on a serious, almost devilish tone. "Move over. I need to press the elevator button." Xiao Qimor's first reaction was to glance behind him, and sure enough, he was blocking the button. Trying to maintain his composure, he quickly pressed the button, forcing a smile. As the elevator doors opened with a ding, he stepped in first, thinking he had dodged the awkward situation. But just as he felt relieved, Lu Mian's relaxed voice floated over from behind him. "Oh, by the way, Director Xiao, you didn't need to throw those roses out. They were just buds, no pollen." He mentally cursed her. Why did she try to act romantic with me? Xiao Qimor's graceful face twisted slightly in frustration as he silently cursed, calling her a little brat. Without warning, he reached out and pulled Lu Mian into the elevator. Caught off guard, Lu Mian, usually quick to react, found herself awkwardly pressed against him. Xiao Qimor took advantage of the moment, turning around to trap her against the elevator wall. Surprisingly, Lu Mian stayed unusually still, only slightly bending her knees, standing there without her usual stance. Xiao Qimor sighed, looking down at her pale face, feeling helpless. "All right, I surrender. I just wanted to tell you that everything that happened at school today was my doing. As the director, it's my job to be responsible for the students. I posted the anonymous note with the intention of guiding you and also clearing your name." Lu Mian looked up at him, her expression showing clear doubt, like she didn't really believe what he'd just said. As for the last part, she pressed her lips together but didn't say anything. When the elevator reached the 8th floor, she calmly brushed Xiao Qimor's arm aside and, without looking at him, walked straight to her apartment door. Xiao Qimor followed her out, tilting his head slightly as he asked, "Want to hang out at my place?" "No thanks, my bed's way more comfortable than your couch." Her custom-made bed had already been delivered. Lu Mian couldn't quite figure out Xiao Qimor's strange, complicated emotions, but she didn't bother thinking about it. She just wanted to lie down, right now, all she needed was to lie down. After scanning her fingerprint to unlock the door, her body, which had been barely holding up, finally relaxed. She collapsed onto the soft, comfy bed, every part of her aching. Glancing at the records on her smartwatch, she sighed. Of course. It was that time of the month again. Curled up under the blankets, she quickly got a message from Miss Ling, "Hey, how are you feeling?" "It's that time again, who?" It was followed by a mushroom emoji representing menstrual pain. "Yep, the curse of the month," she replied. "You wanna come over?" "No way," Ling texted back, "I'm staying far away, Xiao's family lives next door, remember? We can't risk running into them." After a long pause, Ling sent another message, "Hey, you know, my family always says that if you have a kid, the pain will stop. Wanna give that a try? Get lost." Her fingers trembled slightly as she hit send, then she tossed her phone into the blankets. Her period pain was excruciating, the kind that felt like she was dying. It wasn't something she was born with, but a side effect of the kidnapping incident, an injury that left her with this monthly torment. Every month, it felt like her body was being torn apart, pieced back together, only to be torn apart again. She had survived that ordeal, but she would always have to pay the price. Maybe for the rest of her life, she'd have to endure this agony. As Lu Mian was thinking about all this, she heard a knock at the door. She had already forced herself to stand up as if nothing had happened. It was as though the person who had been in unbearable pain just moments ago wasn't her. "What's up?" she asked, pretending everything was fine. Lu Mian stood quietly by the door, arms crossed. Xiao Qimor made a sarcastic comment to himself, "Guess this is the day I get the cold shoulder." He raised the health food he brought and added, "Looks like my food's here, just needs my chopsticks." Honestly, the guy fit the phrase wolf in sheep's clothing perfectly. On the surface, he seemed polite and well-mannered, but deep down, he was scheming and shameless. She watched as he placed the food on the table and, without asking, went to the kitchen, grabbed the chopsticks he had lent her, and carefully set them on the table. Lu Mian just stared at his back, not stopping him, but soon she heard his slow, heavy voice from behind her. "Lu Mian, if it hurts that much, stop pretending you're fine." Her heart jolted for a moment. The next thing she knew, Xiao Qimor was at her side, gently placing his hand on her shoulder, guiding her toward the bedroom. The paleness of her face had already given away how uncomfortable she was. His excuse for bringing food was really just to check up on her. He could tell she was in pain, but still trying to fake being okay. What a little liar. Feeling conflicted, Lu Mian let him help her back to the comfortable bed. Hugging the blanket, she mumbled, "Don't think you know me that well." Then he suggested, "How about some brown sugar water?" Lu Mian paused, surprised that he even knew about that remedy. Her voice got even quieter. Xiao Qimor brought her a cup of brown sugar water and held it to her lips, gently insisting she drink. The whole time, he kept a respectful distance, taking care of her without overstepping. Maybe it was because of his attention to detail, but she started feeling like the pain wasn't as bad as before. Was it just her imagination? She felt a little dazed. Suddenly, the sound of her phone vibrating snapped her out of it. Lu Mian tried to reach for her phone that was lying by the bed, but before she could grab it, Xiao Qimor had already picked it up. She narrowed her eyes at him. Xiao Qimor glanced at the phone screen and raised an eyebrow. "Looks like it's your family calling." Lu Mian, feeling weak, let her arm drop, and her face showed clear frustration. "Just hang up," she muttered, but before she could finish, she was stunned to see Xiao Qimor answer the call. From the other end of the line, a voice almost screamed through the speaker. Even though it was just a phone call, the intensity of the emotions could be felt. "Lu Mian, what did you do to your sister? Are you trying to ruin her life? I knew it. I knew you still hate us and wouldn't let us off so easily." The woman's voice was filled with pain, as though she'd been deeply hurt. The kidnapping incident happened 2 years ago. Why are you still bringing it up? Why are you using people's sympathy to attack your sister? What does she have to do with it? She's such a good, kind girl. What did she ever do to deserve this? After her outburst, there was an awkward silence on the other end. The woman, realizing how quiet it had gotten, yelled again, "Lu Mian, answer me!" But Lu Mian didn't just want to stay silent, she wanted to throw her phone across the room. What did her sister's problems have to do with her, anyway? Her frustration was written all over her face, and Xiao Qimor could see it too. Taking the phone to his ear, Xiao Qimor's voice was calm and cold. "Hello, this is Mr. Xiao, the director at Kunpeng High School." The voice on the other end hesitated. "Oh, I'm sorry, teacher. Why do you have Lu Mian's phone?" The woman, clearly embarrassed, quickly switched to a more respectful tone. She was used to talking like this to Lu Mian, but now that a school authority was listening, she realized how inappropriate her outburst was. She didn't want to make things worse for her precious daughter. Hurriedly, she tried to explain. "Sorry, teacher. I didn't realize it was you." Did you confiscate her phone for using it during class? Xiao Qimor gave a nonchalant hum, ignoring Lu Mion's confused expression as he casually stuffed his hands in his pockets and headed toward the living room. That can't be right, Lu Mion has been behaving very well. Xiao Qimor had no intention of dragging this out, crossing his legs as a shadow of cunningness flashed in his eyes. About Lu Xinyuan, I actually wanted to discuss something with you, he said. Fu Man, who had initially been full of anger, was now much calmer and spoke humbly. Teacher, could there be some kind of misunderstanding? How about this, I'll treat you to a meal sometime so we can clear things up. Fu Man's tone was incredibly respectful, almost ingratiating. Xiao Qimor glanced lazily toward the bedroom, his voice icily replying, absolutely. And in the future, please address any issues with me directly, and don't bother my students. After hanging up, he turned to Lu Mion and said, I've taken care of it. The Lu family won't bother you for now. Just rest. If Lu Mion hadn't misheard, his tone almost sounded like he was fishing for some praise. She raised an eyebrow slightly, the playful smirk that usually hung at the corner of her lips twitching a little. Thank you, Director Xiao, she said, sincerely. Clearly satisfied, Xiao Qimor was about to sit down, but paused when he heard her calm voice once more, take care. I won't see you out. His movement froze for just a second before he smoothly brushed off an imaginary wrinkle on his pants and stood back up. Rest well, Xiao Qimor said as he turned to leave. As he passed through the dining room, he glanced at the 2 pairs of chopsticks on the table, and a helpless smile tugged at his lips. The pair of chopsticks she borrowed from him the other day is here too. The next day, Lu Mion showed up at school like nothing had happened. She acted as she always did, cool and distant toward her classmates, with her usual careless attitude toward those she knew well. Hey, Mion, wanna copy my answers? They're collecting the test today, Yuan Hao eagerly offered, placing his fully completed test paper proudly in front of her. Lu Mion glanced at it lazily, then smirked, nah, I'm not about to copy a test that only got 12 points. Both of them froze at the same time, blurting out, how do you know the test scored 12 points, main? Lu Mion twirled her pen indifferently, just a wild guess. Right then, Lu Xinyuan walked over and said to Lu Mion, the monthly exam and the physics competition are coming up soon. I hope you'll still be this relaxed then. Lu Mion glanced at her, feeling puzzled. What did her monthly exam and the physics competition have to do with her? But she didn't bother getting into it with Lu Xinyuan. She just replied casually, whatever. Lu Xinyuan was fuming inside, barely keeping up her composed appearance. Deep down, she made a firm resolution, she had to get first place in the competition. She wanted to prove to everyone that she was better than Lu Mion and more worthy of being saved. Just then, Lu Mion's phone buzzed with a message from Sui Yuan, Mion, join the physics competition, do it for me. I just want to see you come in first. Lu Mion couldn't help but sigh as she stared at the text, almost imagining Sui Yuan grinning mischievously at her. She had no way of saying no to her. On the podium, the teacher shouted, Yuan Hao, you and Guozi Hao got identical 12 points. Do you think the teacher's dumb and wouldn't notice you copied? If I catch you two copying again, don't bother coming to my physics class. The two stared at the bright red 12 on their papers, stunned. So, how did Main guess right? Lu Mion, come to my office. She rubbed her temples, thinking, does Mr. Ding have nothing better to do than hover over me? Casually, she slid her phone into her pocket and shoved her hands in there too, slouching as she headed toward the office. The monthly exam is tomorrow. Should I mark a few key points for you? Lu Mion felt conflicted, lazily tapping her foot in circles on the ground. Calmly, yet with a hint of indifference, she said, no need, Mr. Ding. Her words caught in her throat as a few more teachers entered the office, forcing her to swallow the rest of what she wanted to say. Mr. Ding, your computer's connected to the printer, right? Could you help us print out the admission tickets for the physics competition? Before Mr. Ding could respond, Lu Mion interrupted with a calm voice, Mr. Ding, can I borrow your computer for a moment? Hold on, let me print these tickets first, Mr. Ding replied while working on the computer. Mr. Ding, I've got a quick question, Lu Mian insisted. What's the question? Mr. Ding asked, glancing at her while still typing. It's about this physics problem, Lu Mian said as she quickly scribbled something on a piece of paper and slid it over. Mr. Ding was only half paying attention at first, but as soon as he saw the problem, his eyes lit up. Being a physics teacher, he was naturally intrigued by the challenge. You can use the computer now, he said, pushing it toward her while he focused on the problem. Soon, a group of physics teachers gathered around Mr. Ding, some grabbing pens, others scribbling calculations. But none of the 5 or 6 teachers could solve it. It was a tricky one. Just as Lu Mian finished up on the computer, she casually mentioned, "Oh, by the way, I've signed up for the physics competition too. Could you print my admission ticket as well?" Lu Xinyuan stared at Lu Mian in disbelief. Did she seriously think she could compete in the physics competition without embarrassing herself? Lu Xinyuan was certain that Lu Mian was setting herself up for failure, and once the results came out, it was going to be humiliating. Meanwhile, Su Ju, sitting a few seats away, couldn't stop glancing at Lu Mian. Ever since she'd shown up, he couldn't get her out of his head. The more he observed her, the more baffled he became. Why was she even here at the competition? His grandpa had once said their family wasn't worthy of someone like her. What did that even mean? Lost in thought, Su Ju found it hard to focus on the exam. Before long, time flew by, and that familiar slim, tall figure had already made her way to the front to turn in her paper. The invigilator, unsure, glanced at the time to double-check. There were still 2 hours left before the exam ended, but Lu Mian calmly placed her paper on the desk. Without waiting for the invigilator to urge her to stay, she casually stuffed one hand in her uniform pocket, the other gripping a pen, and strolled out of the room like she didn't have a care in the world. Handing in the paper after just 1 hour? For sure, people were going to think she wasn't serious. But soon after, another student left their seat and handed in their exam early too. The invigilator was a bit puzzled as he watched the tall guy, who stood about 6 feet, leave. He picked up the 2 exams that had just been turned in. One was barely half done, while the other was completely filled out. Shaking his head, he sighed. Lu Xinyuan witnessed Lu Mian turn in her paper and then watched Su Ju rush out after her. She was gripping her scratch paper so tightly that it was starting to tear. It made sense that Lu Mian would turn her exam in early. She probably couldn't answer the questions anyway. But Su Ju following her out? That felt like a betrayal. As she tried to write, nothing on the exam made sense anymore. Su Ju caught up with Lu Mian after chasing her down the hall. "Why did you leave the competition?" he asked. Lu Mian barely glanced at him, clearly annoyed. Her expression said it all, "Leave me alone." Feeling awkward but determined, Su Ju didn't give up. "I heard you moved out of your house. You're still in school and don't have any income. Are you short on money? I've got some if you need it." Lu Mian narrowed her eyes at him, confused. "I'm not broke. Thanks, though." Su Ju instinctively reached out to grab her, but the moment he did, he was met with her cold, piercing glare. Her lips curled into a dangerous smile, half playful, half menacing. "Let go. I don't have time for this," she said. Su Ju wasn't ready to give up and continued to follow her, calling her name as he chased her. But just as he was about to catch up, a tall, authoritative man stepped in, blocking his path at the crosswalk. The man's presence alone seemed to dwarf Su Ju's confidence. "Good afternoon, Director Xiao," Su Ju greeted nervously, his voice barely above a whisper. Even though the school director wasn't known to be strict, Su Ju felt an odd sense of fear. Something in his gut told him this was not someone to mess with. Despite that, his eyes still anxiously followed Lu Mian as she walked away. Xiao Qimor looked at him sternly. "Other people are taking exams or attending classes. Do you really think this commotion is appropriate?" Xiao Qimor's stern, standard school director tone didn't feel out of place at all. Su Ju lowered his head, saying, "I understand my mistake, Director Xiao. Go back to your classroom," Xiao Qimor ordered. Suju hesitated for a moment, reluctant to leave after finally getting the chance to speak with Lu Mion alone. Xiao Qimor raised an eyebrow. Do you need me to escort you back? With a heavy sigh, Suju reluctantly returned to class, but not without casting one last glance in Lu Mion's direction before leaving. Meanwhile, at a bar in the north side of town, Lu Mion had changed out of her school uniform. Now wearing black pants and a short-sleeve shirt, she sat calmly at the bar, ordering just a glass of ice water. When Xiao Qimor came to the private room on the second floor from downstairs, his eyes immediately landed on her. The bar was noisy and full of life, but she seemed to be in her own world, blocking out everything around her. A girl like her in a place like this? Definitely not safe. Especially one who stands out so much, and he knew she wasn't here just for a drink. Ice water? What is that? He muttered, pinching the bridge of his nose as frustration welled up. Without another word, he walked straight toward her. Hey, Shiji! The girls upstairs are waiting for you in the game room, someone called out to Xiao Qimor, referring to him by his nickname. Not now, Xiao Qimor responded coldly. In just a few steps, he was standing next to Lu Mion. She leaned against the counter, her posture cool and composed. Without asking, Xiao Qimor snatched the glass from her hand. Your stomach doesn't hurt anymore, huh? Lu Mion, startled, looked up and saw it was Xiao Qimor. His expression was hard to read. Everywhere I go, you seem to show up, she thought. This heartless little brat. Just a few days ago, he had gone out of his way to make sure she drank some rare, nourishing medicine in warm water for her stomach. And now? Here she was, downing ice water in a bar. No wonder he was so annoyed. She didn't even try to soften her voice. Yeah, my stomach's fine. Xiao Qimor looked her over. Why are you in a bar? To kill time, she replied, completely unfazed. Xiao Qimor didn't question her further. With a slight nod, he gestured toward the second floor. There's a private room upstairs. It's quieter. I'll take you up there to relax. Lu Mion couldn't help but think, why does this guy love to meddle in other people's business so much? Xiao Qimor pushed open the door to the private room at the end of the hallway, motioning for Lu Mion to enter first like a true gentleman. Yi Jingwen was laughing and joking with a group of people when he saw Lu Mion walk in. He made a sound of surprise and then, with a mischievous grin, leaned over to Xiao Qimor. Shiji, weren't you going to handle your personal businesses? Why'd you come back with someone? Yi Jingwen, clearly intrigued by this unexpected turn, was already gearing up for some gossip, his curiosity practically burning. Xiao Qimor ignored him and waved over a server. Get her a hot milk. He turned to Lu Mion, saying, kids should drink kids' drinks. Lu Mion sighed, licking her lips in mild frustration. The hot milk was soon placed in front of her, and with no other choice, she held it in her hands. Since she didn't know how to play cards, she just sat quietly behind Xiao Qimor. She swung her legs lazily, sipping the milk in small sips like a model student. Xiao Qimor seemed pleased with this sight and felt like everything was going just fine. After all, this was just a casual card game for fun. Suddenly, one of the strangers with a scruffy beard glanced at Lu Mion and blurted out, why don't we let the little miss shuffle the cards? Surprised by being called out, Lu Mion straightened up and seriously responded, I don't know how to shuffle cards. The scruffy guy grinned, even more satisfied. That's exactly what we want, someone who doesn't know how. Adds a bit of fun, right? Who knows, maybe it'll spice things up. Xiao Qimor calmly placed a card on the table, his long fingers pressing down on it. She said she doesn't know how, his deep voice carrying a hint of authority. The guy didn't seem too discouraged and laughed, suggesting, how about this, if you guys win, you can ask me for one favor. If we win, I get to ask you guys for one. Deal? Xiao Qimor and Yi Jingwen exchanged a quick glance. They had been keeping an eye on this guy for a while, hoping to get some info from him, but as soon as it involved Lu Mion, that idea was quickly dropped. Still waiting for an answer, the scruffy guy watched as Lu Mion set her cute pink milk cup aside and stood up, a faint, mischievous smile on her face. "All right." The scruffy guy nodded, satisfied with her response. Lu Mion furrowed her brows and said, "I'll just shuffle casually, then." She glanced at the scruffy guy, a sly smile spreading across her face. As she opened a brand new deck of cards, Lu Mion took them and began to shuffle, though her movements were a bit clumsy. Still, it was captivating to watch. Her fingers were long and elegant, with short, neat, light pink nails that looked clean and natural. The way the cards passed through her hands made it seem like watching her shuffle was a treat in itself. The scruffy guy's eyes lit up with excitement. He grinned like an old fox and said, "Little miss, you're not gonna get far shuffling like that. Just put them on the table and let me show you how it's done." Lu Mion gave him a cold, piercing look, her gaze filled with a fleeting but sharp hint of sarcasm. Ignoring him, she shuffled a few more times before neatly placing the deck in the center of the table, saying, "All right, let's keep going." The scruffy guy's follower chimed in, flattering him, with a little miss shuffling, "Your luck's bound to get better, boss. You're gonna win big tonight." The scruffy guy eagerly reached for the first card, fingers trembling with anticipation. He picked it up and frowned at the sight of a four of hearts, clearly disappointed. When it was Xiao Qimor's turn, he casually drew the highest-ranking card, the Joker. Surprised, he leaned back slightly and muttered, "Nice shuffle." Meanwhile, Lu Mion stood next to him, drinking milk and barely paying attention. She finally responded with a lazy, uninterested, "Yeah, whatever." Xiao Qimor, staring at the unbeatable Joker in his hand, fell silent, the card so good he almost wanted to reveal it right away. Across the table, Yi Jingwen was sitting confidently, already looking like a winner. On the other hand, the scruffy guy's face turned as dark as a storm cloud, clearly on the verge of throwing his cards in frustration. Lu Mion wasn't interested in their card game's rules. After a quick 2-minute round, she saw Xiao Qimor calmly play her last card and declare, "We win." The scruffy guy and his buddy looked defeated. "No way, that was brutal. We had such a terrible hand. Little miss, can you shuffle for us again?" The scruffy guy wasn't quite ready to give up. Lu Mion lazily glanced up and said, "How about you stick to the deal first?" Xiao Qimor and Yi Jingwen also quietly watched her, waiting for what she'd say next. With a wave of his hand, the scruffy guy acted all carefree. "Fine, you win. Tell me what you want. As long as it's within my power, I'll do it." Yi Jingwen, catching a signal from Xiao Qimor, winked at him, and he spoke up. "Hey, Boss Huang, we don't want much. We just want to know, where'd you get that flashy gold chain around your neck? It's pretty nice." A simple question, but the scruffy guy's face immediately tensed up. He'd kept that chain hidden under his shirt, not many had seen it. Now that someone mentioned it out of the blue, it made him uneasy, his eyes darted around. Lu Mion's lips curled into a sarcastic smile. "What's the big deal? Is that chain not yours? Or are you just embarrassed about a handsome boy asking?" The scruffy guy got flustered. "Little miss, don't misunderstand me. I'm a legit businessman. I don't even know where I got this chain, honestly. I found it in the hallway of my hotel, no one claimed it, so I just kept it. If someone asks for it, I'll give it back. I didn't plan to keep it or anything." Lu Mion gave a short, disinterested laugh. Xiao Qimor and Yi Jingwen exchanged glances that held a hint of complexity. It seemed like the jewelry robbery involving Wu Cheng the day before had nothing to do with Boss Huang after all. Maybe the real culprit was still hiding out in his hotel. "Well, I'm heading home," Lu Mion said, standing up to leave. "Qimor, we found the suspect, but..." Yi Jingwen paused, sounding annoyed. "Someone beat us to it. They already caught the guy, tied him up, and dumped him at the police station. Did you check the security footage?" "Yeah, but Boss Huang's hotel has way too many blind spots in the cameras. The only thing we saw was a tagged car pulling up and dumping the guy. No other clues." Yi Jingwen hesitated for a moment, as if the style of this situation reminded him of someone. Before he could finish his thought, Xiao Qimor interrupted, "Since we've already found the suspect, we don't need to get involved anymore." That was the end of it. Today was the day the monthly exam results were being handed out. Before class started, the teacher made an announcement about the physics competition. 5 students from our class participated, and one of them achieved an outstanding score that surprised me. Lu Xinyuan lightly gripped her notebook, her eyes filled with anticipation. Her friend leaned closer and whispered, "Xinyuan, it's your big moment." "Don't say that." "I have no idea what my score is," she said modestly, but her trembling voice betrayed her excitement. "Of course, it's me. Who else could it be? That loser Lu Mian," she thought to herself. Congratulations to Lu Mian for getting a perfect score and ranking first in the entire school. Lu Xinyuan's smile froze, and something inside her seemed to break. No way. Lu Mian finished in just an hour. How could this be? Teacher, are you sure Lu Mian didn't cheat? Cheat? That's impossible. Lu Mian was the first to finish and the only one who completed all the questions. Other students would be lucky to copy off her, but who could she have copied from? What if she got the answers beforehand? Even less likely. The last question on the test was highly debated. The competition committee was split into 2 camps with different answers. They didn't think anyone could solve it, but Lu Mian's paper opened their eyes and unified their decision. In other words, her paper became the standard answer. Lu Xinyuan knew that sometimes, the loudest complainers get what they want, but she wasn't stupid enough to snitch directly. With reddened eyes, she forced a smile and shook her head, holding back her frustration. "Mom, I'm fine. I just might have disappointed you this time," she said, her voice trembling with restraint. Fu Man's heart sank. Ever since she was little, Xinyuan had always been the kind of child who reported only good news and kept her struggles to herself, making her all the more endearing and heartbreaking. Fu Man pulled Lu Xinyuan down onto the couch, and after pressing her for more details, she finally learned it was about the physics competition. But when Xinyuan mentioned that Lu Mian had scored a perfect mark, Fu Man was stunned. No matter how she thought about it, it just didn't seem possible. But Fu Man wasn't in the mood to worry about Lu Mian's situation. She comforted Lu Xinyuan, Nuan, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. This was just the preliminary round. There's still the semi-finals and finals. Maybe Lu Mian got lucky this time and scored a perfect score, but luck doesn't last forever. You're different. You have the foundation and the skills. Mom believes in your abilities. Lu Xinyuan tilted her head slightly, trying to hold back tears. How about you let my sister come back? She's out there all alone, and I'm really worried about her. Fu Man was worried too. No matter how much she scolded or criticized her, Lu Mian was still her child. But when she thought about Lu Mian's cold and distant attitude, she shook her head. Forget it. Every time she's back, she just makes me angry and distracts you from your studies. Lu Xinyuan seemed to have gotten the answer she wanted and snuggled into Fu Man's arms. Oh, Mom, can I start learning how to trade stocks with Su Ju? He's really good at it. He makes millions every time. I want to help pay off our family's debts as soon as possible, so you don't have to work so hard anymore, Xinyuan said, full of confidence in Su Ju's skills. Stocks? Fu Man didn't know much about stocks, but she had heard about the risks. How many times had she seen news reports about people jumping off buildings after losing everything in the stock market? She wasn't in a rush to pay off their debts. As long as Xinyuan kept doing well, money would be the least of their worries. Nuan, your job right now is to study. Let Mom handle the money. Mom, I just want a chance to spend more time with Su Ju, that's all, Xinyuan replied. Lately, she had noticed Su Ju's growing distance. Maybe Su Ju used to treat her kindly, but after seeing how successful Su Ju had become, Xinyuan felt the need to act fast. She couldn't let Lu Mian get any closer. You don't need to give me a lot of money, just a few thousand. We'll start small. Excited, Lu Xinyuan beamed, and Fu Man, not wanting to upset her daughter, reluctantly transferred half of her latest paycheck to her. Xin Yuan smiled sweetly as she counted the money. Late at night, Lu Mian returned to Jincheng number 1. Lazily sitting in front of her computer, she was greeted by a group of stock enthusiasts eagerly waiting for her input. After carefully analyzing a promising stock, she sent it to Lin, who took care of the rest. But unlike before, Lu Mian added something this time. Lin, go through the group members and see if there's a traitor. If there is, stop sending out info. No need, Lin replied. Even though Lin didn't quite understand, she did what she was told. The group they created had one entry rule: poverty. Lu Mian helped them make money through stock trading, but always reminded them to be cautious. Once someone's financial situation improved, they had to leave the group. If anyone suspicious slipped in, Lu Mian wouldn't let them off easy. Later, Lu Xin Yuan, Su Ju, and Lu Mian found themselves in a small classroom. Lu Mian's arrival made her seem like an outsider, and the room, which had been noisy, suddenly fell silent. Su Ju shot her a look of respect. While others might not know, anyone who'd been in the physics competition knew who Lu Mian was, the genius who finished the exam in just 1 hour and scored perfectly. After a moment of awkward silence, Lu Xin Yuan seemed to realize something and quickly stood up. Mian, there's no seat left. Take mine. She acted all sweet and sisterly, which made everyone else pause. Su Ju, sitting next to Lu Xin Yuan, didn't hesitate either. He pulled out a chair and gestured for Lu Mian to sit next to her sister. But Lu Mian walked straight into the room, ignoring their friendly gestures, and jumped lightly onto the windowsill, sitting there casually. Everyone thought she was so cool. Even the fake friendliness of Lu Xin Yuan couldn't compete. Awkward, Lu Xin Yuan had no choice but to sit back down, and Su Ju did the same. Some classmates pitted the two, but no one could bring themselves to dislike Lu Mian. The meeting was mainly to discuss the students who made it to the semi-finals and details about the next competition. Lu Mian didn't want to be there, but out of nowhere, she got a text from the director. Mian, you're in a meeting, right? Are you thinking about skipping the semi-finals? But I hope you'll continue. If you make it, I'll grant you one wish. Lu Mian thought to herself, has the director put a camera on me or something? How can he read my mind so well? Her eyes lingered on the last line of the message, I'll grant you one wish. A soft smile tugged at the corners of her mouth. Hey, little boy, wait for me, Lu Mian called out, her voice teasing. Just then, Yi Jingwen, who had been quietly grumbling, noticed something. His eyes widened as he pointed toward the school's flower bed. Chimor, you probably don't want to look, he said, standing in front of Xiao Chimor, trying to block his view. But Xiao Chimor, being taller, had already seen it. There, by the flower bed, was Lu Mian, talking to a girl with a buzz cut. Xiao Chimor knew the girl, her name was Sui Yuan, and she and Lu Mian had a bond like no other. As they chatted, Lu Mian kept playfully patting Sui Yuan's head, like a sneaky cat who'd just gotten into something. She even smiled warmly, a rare sight for anyone to see. Let's go, Chimor. They're just friends catching up, Yi Jingwen said. Hearing this, Xiao Chimor's face unreadable, standing firm. Of course, in the middle of it all, he didn't forget to scold the lovebirds he caught sneaking around. Yi Jingwen couldn't help but feel sorry for them. Meanwhile, Sui Yuan glanced over to where Xiao Chimor had disappeared and said softly, Mian, why's he a director now? I remember he used to be your neighbor. Lu Mian, uninterested, replied, who knows? It feels like he's been watching you this whole time, but not in a bad way. You think he likes you? Sui Yuan's voice got quieter as she snuck a glance at Lu Mian to see her reaction. Seeing that Lu Mian's expression hadn't changed, she cautiously added, he's pretty cool though. Everyone in my class looks forward to him checking in on us. Lu Mian playfully patted Sui Yuan's head again, clearly in a good mood. I think he's just trying to use me to get to that mystery person, so don't get too caught up in this love stuff. And definitely don't overestimate a guy's feelings. Sui Yuan grabbed Lu Mion's hand to stop her from messing with her head again. You sound like you know a lot about it. She paused, then asked, so, what's your plan? Lu Mion shrugged, let him figure it out himself. If he can find the mystery person, that's on him. In the director's office, Xiao Qimor sat on the couch with a calm expression, one leg casually crossed over the other. Even though he wasn't saying a word, the pressure he radiated was enough to make the two students he'd caught trembling with fear. Teacher, we were just discussing homework, the girl stammered, too scared to look up, while the boy nervously nodded along. Yes, teacher, we were just studying. Xiao Qimor didn't respond, just glanced at them, instantly knowing what they were thinking. Yi Jingwen was about to step in and say something to smooth things over, but before he could, Xiao Qimor shifted in her seat, fixed her gaze on the boy, and casually asked, so, how did you manage to get her attention? That question left everyone in the room stunned. Both the boy and girl looked over at Yi Jingwen with a desperate plea for help. Yi Jingwen thought to himself, is he seriously asking students for dating advice now? Has he lost it? Ignoring Yi Jingwen, Xiao Qimor rested his left arm on the back of the couch, his right hand holding his phone, ready to jot down notes as if this was some kind of research session. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. The couple was practically shaking, especially the boy, who looked like he was about to get on his knees and beg. Teacher, I swear, we're not dating. I didn't even try to woo her with flowers, chocolates, or love letters. His voice was slow and shaky. No, we're really not. Xiao Qimor wasn't buying it. He spotted something on his wrist. What's that on your wrist? It wasn't a watch or a bracelet, but a black hair tie that was way too tight, leaving a red mark. The boy panicked, quickly trying to hide his hand behind his back. It's nothing. Just, a charm for good luck. Before Xiao Qimor could question him further, the girl took a closer look and suddenly flipped out. Li Mingho! That isn't my hair tie. Whose is that? Now Li Mingho was in full-blown panic. Xiang, I can explain. I don't care, she shot back. You promised you'd only wear the hair tie I gave you, it's a symbol of our love. Furious, Xiang shoved him and stormed out of the office, tears streaming down her face. Li Mingho, looking devastated, muttered, Teacher, you win, and ran after her.